Earlier in my life, I spent a lot of time traveling, and these travels often took me to regions of conflict during times of conflict. And one thing that was really striking to me is how different they were. So there were different religions involved. There were different histories, there were different cultures, different languages. On paper, almost everything was different about them. And yet the things that seemed to be driving people to conflict were eerily similar across these different conflicts. So much so that I felt like I could take the transcript of a conversation with a young Tamil villager in Sri Lanka and have a kid in Belfast read it, and it would make perfect sense to him. And one of the refrains that was really common, especially from people who are part of the marginalized group in a conflict, was that they said they felt like they were treated as a little bit less than human by the other group. Right, that they didn't feel like the other group really respected them as equal partners. And this theme of dehumanization is one that has kind of long intrigued social scientists, especially since World War II. Right, social scientists and the world was horrified by the Holocaust and wondered, how could humans do that to each other? And one of the things that social science has been focused on is this tendency to dehumanize. Like what role might that have played? And the idea is that, so if you remove humanity from another group, maybe that removes kind of a stop on your violence towards them. I approached a friend of mine, a colleague. We wanted to work together for a long time, Noor Kataili, and together we developed different measures to get at blatant, overt, completely conscious levels of dehumanization. And to our, chagrin and somewhat to our surprise, we found that in every society that we measured dehumanization, that people were perfectly willing to admit to blatantly dehumanizing at least one other group. And the degree to which they did this was a really good predictor of their hostility towards that other group. So one concern we had, of course, is that this measure may just be bringing out people's extreme dislike. Maybe it's not dehumanization per se. Maybe it's just a way for them to express their dislike for the other group. But what we found is that when we put people in an MRI scanner and we looked at their brain activity as they were making these judgments of dehumanization about marginalized groups, like the homeless, like Muslims, for people here in the US, we found that when they were making these dehumanization judgments, regions of their brain were active that weren't active when they were making judgments of just dislike for other groups. And when they were making judgments of dislike, it activated a different set of brain regions that weren't active when they were making their judgments of dehumanization. So this seems to be kind of a special form of marginalizing other groups that's distinct from just disliking them. This is an important distinction to get right. How we think of other groups might depend not just on kind of our affect towards them, not just how we feel about them, but also how we evaluate them. Do we think that they have the same capabilities, the same ability to reason that we do? And this awareness might be able to help individuals. If I know that it's my perception about the other group and not whether I like them or not, right? I have a target that I can work on in myself. That might suggest that if we are to build interventions, for example, that change how people respond to other groups, if they're dehumanizing the other group versus disliking the other group, it might require a completely different approach to changing their views. And if we know as a society that these behaviors are being driven more by perceptions of the other group as less than fully human, we might be able to much more effectively address these social ills.